Joining me now is Paul Butler. He's a former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst. He's the author of the very important book, Chokehold, Policing Black Men. Now, Paul, this is a complicated issue. There's no question. Cash bail is different in different places. It doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. But let's use a New York example. In 2010, there was a 16-year-old boy, Kalief Browder. He was arrested for allegedly stealing a backpack. He was put in Rikers jail. He and his family couldn't afford to post the $3,000 bail. Now, there were all sorts of reports that he was severely abused, he was tortured, he was beaten up. He spent 3 years in Rikers, some of it in solitary confinement, and then the charges against him were dropped. Suffered from PTSD, and he took his own life 2 years later at the age of 22. Just one example in, I don't know, you must have thousands of examples of why people don't get the same treatment based on whether they have money or not.
Yeah, so in these Trump-related prosecutions, Ali, we're seeing all these elite white people become ensnared in a criminal legal system that was largely designed for poor people and people of color like Kalief Browder. So Trump is half right when he complains about two systems of justice. The criminal legal system is broken, but the real victims are not rich and powerful lawyers like John Eastman and Rudy Giuliani, who have no problem making their bail, even when it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. The real victims are people like Kalief Browder. Huge number of people in jail lived below poverty before they got locked up. Most can't afford even the $10,000. That's the average bail. So, Ali, I get why to a lot of people it would seem so unfair if Donald Trump or Sidney Powell were incarcerated for the months or years leading up to their trials. But that's the world that 650,000 Americans live in right now. They're presumed innocent, but they're still in prison, not because they're guilty, but because they're poor.
So what's the solution, Paul? Most people would say, all right, what's the incentive? You've been charged with something. There's evidence to move ahead with a trial against you. We'd like you to show up. It's not in the state's interest to incarcerate all these people. It's way more expensive. If you can't make $500 or $1,000 bail and you have to sit in jail like Kalief Browder did for all that time, that's way more expensive to the state than something else. So what is a reasonable solution? What's the incentive to say you need to show up for jail if you're charged with something, for your trial if you're charged with something?
As more and more jurisdictions, 3 states are doing, one solution is to end cash bail. The vast majority of people who are released before trial don't commit crimes when they're out, and they show up for their court dates. Simple fixes like texting defendants to remind them when they're supposed to be in court work better than cash bail, which is great for billionaires like Donald Trump, but a huge barrier to equal justice for the average accused person. Another fix, Ali, is focusing on this for-profit bail bond industry where corporations extract money from people who can least afford it. If a bail bondsman pays your bail, you have to pay a big fee, and you don't get that back, even if the charges are dropped or you're found innocent.
Right, and you often go to these bail bondsmen. They are usually right next to a jail. At that point, you don't have the luxury, generally speaking, of shopping around or trying to find a low interest or a free loan. If you're in the bail bondsman's office, generally speaking, it means there's a problem.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure then to plead guilty. Not one of those 19 people who were charged in Georgia wanted to spend the night in the notorious Atlanta Fulton County Jail. It's under federal investigation for its dangerous and unsafe conditions. A lawsuit says that a prisoner last year was eaten alive by bed bugs. We know that 15 people died in that jail last year. So it's obvious that conditions like that are not the best place to prepare for trial. So there's pressure to plead guilty just because it could mean you get to come home earlier. If you're homeless or mentally ill, like a lot of people in our criminal legal system, those conditions are exacerbated by pretrial detention. And of course, Kalief Browder is the tragic story there. A young man arrested for stealing a backpack. He always insisted that he was innocent. Prosecutors said, if you plead guilty, you can go home right now. He said, I'm innocent. He ended up staying in prison, notorious Riker Island, for over 2 years. The conditions there led him to take his own life.
Paul, good to talk to you as always. Thank you for being with us to give us some analysis on this, and hopefully it's something that people can think about a little bit about what's going on in their own communities and how to motivate some change to the cash bail system. Paul's a former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst. He's also the author of the book Chokehold: Policing Black Men.